Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sarah Yu. I'm show host Dr. Sarah Yu. Show today's America in the World, as well as Dr. Sarah for U.S. Senator, as well as U Vision and the U Right TV show and local TV. So thank you so much. Today we have season 2 about Donald Trump indicted, the story we're going to talk about today. So we have a special we have special 3 guests here to who know very well about this, Donald Trump indicted, things. So we're going to, I will going to ask them to who they are, so they will introduction themselves. So can you go ahead, Paul? Can you introduce yourself?
I sure can. Yes, this is Louis Powell. I am a campaign coordinator for Dr. Sarah Liew, a graduate of Clemson University with a degree in political science. I also have a master's from the University of London studying the politics of the Middle East and North Africa. North Africa is actually my field. I used to be a Democrat, and when the party went nuts, I became a Republican, which came very naturally to me being from South Carolina, from a family of Republicans anyway. I'm currently traveling through South America, which is why I'm dressed like this. So I hope that that's okay.
Thank you so much. Also, can you introduction, Gretchen, can you introduce yourself? Yeah.
Sure. I am Gretchen Wollert. I live here in Southeast Wyoming with my husband. We farm and ranch. I have degrees in history and English and education. I am an educator. I wrote the book Born to Fight: Lincoln and Trump. I am a historian and the expert on how Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump are amazingly alike.
Great. Thank you for join us. So, the Louis Eric Powell is especially our campaign coordinator is working so many fields. He working with me, issues research as well as managing all the media. He's managing manager. So I'm so thankful to join both of you as well as Greenwich. The last week we had a very good interview about Donald Trump and Abraham Lincoln, two president, the differentiation and similar. So today we have another guest. We invited. One is Attorney Andrew Kim. One another is Congress. Mark. Congress Mark. We will going to. He is now is vacation in the family because it's the Sunday. I'm going to have another show, season 3. Need the Congress man. Who willing to talk about this. And then today, Attorney Andrew Kim will join soon, and then we want to talk about first. We want to say neither Luis, Paul, as well as Granche. So about we're gonna to talk about. Can you talk? Can you talk about a little bit background? Luis, can you explanation of what's going on and then talk about your view of what's happened here? Yeah.
Well, in a nutshell, we have a former U.S. president who has been charged with 34 crimes in one state, and this is the state of New York. This is the first time in history, apparently, an American president, sitting or former, has been charged with a crime. A poll came out earlier this week done by none other than the Communist News Network, CNN, the Clinton News Network, showing that about 75% of the American public believe that the charges were influenced by politics, which is not exactly, does not exactly smack of a chaste operation. The American public do think that politics has figured into it, and that is certainly not what a judge or prosecutor wants to hear. The consensus that I've gotten this week, and I've watched an array of both left-wing and right-wing media and also sort of centrist media, is that the charges as they stand are relatively weak. The case is not watertight. Alan Dershowitz, of course, who is an indefatigable champion of freedom and also was one of Trump's impeachment lawyers, said on CNN that the case should be dismissed. It simply does not hold water. Even liberal CNN's panelists, they had 7 or 8 people all day on their panel when Trump was indicted. And the consensus on that panel was shockingly skeptical that these charges will stick. So the word now is that Trump's lawyers first are going to seek a motion to dismiss. And Alan Dershowitz, for one, said he thinks that is the right course since the case is crap, and that he actually believes there's a good chance that that might happen. If the case is not dismissed, I am reading that the Trump lawyers will next ask for a change of venue. They're talking about Staten Island, which has always been Republican territory. It's the only Republican borough of New York City. They voted solidly for Trump twice. They always supported Giuliani. I certainly think if the case is not dismissed, they're going to have to move the proceeding, because there's no way that Trump can get a fair trial in Manhattan, where only about, I think, 12% of the population voted for him. And I say, if OJ can get a change of venue, Donald Trump can get a change of venue.
So now we have Attorney Andrew Kim is here. Attorney Andrew Kim, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, Sarah. Thank you very much for inviting me. I think this is a very important topic that we need to really educate the audience as to where things are in terms of the Trump's running for the election for 2024. I think this case is a very it's part of the, I think, overall plan by the left to try to influence the overall outcome of this election. So I think I'm very happy to be here, and I'd like to share what I think about this. Thank you, Sarah.
Right.
And
So I want to introduce him to he is my great friends since we have more than like 10 years together learning non-profit, two non-profit, no paid, he is contributor. He's all the attorney, all the skill is supporting community. He was learning last year, learning for mayor in LA, and he win, he does not win #1, but he almost getting mayor in LA. So as well as he's my co-host, Dr. Sarah Yu show, or all the U.S. Senate show, as well as UVision, new TV show, as well as Dr. Sarah Today's American West show. So, Attorney Andrew Kim is really leader in Korean society as well as American. He studied at the law is Papadai University. He studied, the political science at the Clement University, as well as the Talbot University, the theology master, and as well as doctor in Clement, Nina working on it. He is really my good, best supporter since I learning 2020 and 22, 24. He's working with me as a campaign law attorney. We always talk about meeting at the, many good restaurant in the Beverly Hills. We talk about today's issue. So today, thank you so much, your Andrew support, thank you. So can you share us, the time almost, we have a 50 minutes more to first. I want to talk first, Andrew, Attorney Andrew Kim, can you talk about what is your opinion about this, the Donald Trump indicted case in what is felony or misdemeanor, or maybe he against the federal campaign law? What is a true story? Because we need to know about true story, right? So people, even Black Lives Matter people say, evil like Donald Trump evil, they need to go to the court to criminal charge felony or misdemeanor or like a federal. So I needed to know, you are the attorney, like more than 20 years, decade, you are working as an attorney. Tell me about what is your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult, and it's in fact I'm very sad to think about what happened, how this person, DA, newly elected in Manhattan, the DA's office, campaigned on the indicting Donald Trump, no matter what. I mean, this guy's a guy who should be really be subject to discipline in the state bar, because he, without even knowing all the facts, ran on the campaign slogan of indicting Donald Trump, and that is like it smacks of a the Stalin era, the chief Beria, who said, "Show me a man, I'll show the crime that he committed." It's a smack, and it's very sad to know that this kind of things can happen. It's no wonder that we talk about the lawlessness and all that in the United States. It's truly a lawlessness, because if you have power, you can just use it to suppress the opposition, and that is not America. That's not why our founding fathers sacrificed all that they have to create and to establish a nation called America. That is a nation that is dedicated to the idea of pursuing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, individual happiness, the right of human dignity. That is the reason why that the America established, and 200 years of American history is dedicated to that cause. Now we have a post-Obama era in which we have I call this a Obama elderized Department of Justice, and it is a extremely dangerous, weaponized Department of Justice that need to be reined and need to be under control. Otherwise, it will create more disorder and violence, and only time will tell how worse it can get before we can rein this and stop this and make America great again.
I can speak on that indictment if I could say a word or two.
Yeah, of course. Talk about that. You are the next. I was asking about that too. So can you tell us to what you are. I want to introduction her to more deeply. She is the Republican woman leaders, as well as mother of the four kids, as well as she's wrote about Abraham Lincoln, as well as Donald Trump, the books. So tell me about your books first. Tell me about what you wrote, because someone maybe does not listen yet. Last season Donald Trump #1. Can you tell me about your book first, and we can talk about indict later? Yeah.
Oh, sure. And I always I sure appreciate everything that the gentleman just said, and I agree 100%. We are a nation that needs to continue according to how the founders wanted it, and the liberal left wants to go in a whole different direction. But my book, Born to Fight, Lincoln and Trump, first of all, Abraham Lincoln is so incredibly, he went through so many things that Donald Trump is going through. Of course, the nation was literally divided with a North and a South during the Civil War. And so it was a different situation there. But the times in which both of them govern, we are so incredibly divided, and there is very little commonality in the middle. In fact, the only I was talking to someone, and they said, "Well, the commonality is all of us just working and living our daily lives." And I said, "Well, kind of that used to be a commonality, but the way the nation is going, that life is about to change. If you want to ignore politics, you might assume there are some commonalities, but those will change. But this indictment of Donald Trump is just another attempt to take him down. What the political left does is they are used to destroying their opponents, and all of these things that they have done to Donald Trump to try to just neutralize him have not worked. And this indictment is just another piece of spaghetti they're slinging against the wall to see if it will stick. First of all, it's New York City. I have no doubt that they will get a conviction if they really want to, even though there's nothing there. 34 counts of Michael Cohen sending a payment to Stormy Daniels. Well, that's one count. And then another day, and that's 5 more counts. And so it's just however many payments this total came up to. That's the 34 counts. And the Records Act is what they're saying that Donald Trump has violated. And it's a misdemeanor anyway in New York. So how they're trying to connect it to a felony, it is all nefarious. It is all fake. And trying to connect that he was even in charge of his business and keeping business records. He gave it to somebody else during his presidency to run his business. And trying to connect it to the campaign finance laws. And that would be a federal crime if he were guilty of doing that. And it's so incredible to me, the hypocrisy of the left, in that Obama had millions and millions come in from large donors, and he hid it and made it look like it was small donors, and he was just slapped with just a small fine. And Hillary Clinton, campaign finance law, she spent $1 million of campaign funds to buy the Steele dossier. And she just paid, I don't know, $100,000 in a fine. And so this is all so hypocritical, but it's completely fake. There's nothing to it. But it is New York City. Donald Trump is very experienced with that. He knows how mean and nasty business is in New York City. And now that he is the Republican candidate for the 2024 election, they, of course, want to completely neutralize him. So this is just another attempt. There's nothing to it. If they get a conviction, which I have no doubt, I'm going to make a prediction that they will. There are enough crooked left-leaning judges and lawyers to get it, but it will be appealed. And if they link it to campaign finance law, meaning it could be a federal crime, then he can go all the way to the Supreme Court. And of course, the Supreme Court, they have no choice but to hear this kind of a case because of the ramifications of the first time in history indicting a president of the United States. And so, there you have it. It's another attempt. Is it going to occupy all of the airwaves for a long, long time? Yes, it will. It's going to distract. And, it could be a long time, but we'll discover the truth. There's nothing to it. It's going to fizzle out, and then they'll go on to the next thing. But right now, it's something that I'm sure is trying Donald Trump because there's only so much baggage you can lay on a person, and they have been doing it constantly because they fear him so much. He's the one who fights against them. He's the one who has been completely immune to all of these attacks. And this is just yet another one. But one thing about Donald Trump is he never gives up. He wrote the book on it. He will never give up. And so that's what drives him so nuts. He stands up against him. He calls him out, and he just won't give up.
Sarah, could I interject one thing here?
Yes, no problem. Can you? Yes, great. Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Gretchen had mentioned something about the Supreme Court, and I believe Trump saw this coming years ago. He said, these people are going to stay on me forever. And I believe that, he appointed 3 of the sitting 9 justices on the court. That's a huge number. 1/3 of the current Supreme Court was put there by Donald Trump. And I think maybe he was thinking they'll protect me. But I was thinking this week, there's no reason to think the Supreme Court will, because they have been very capricious and unpredictable lately. They have not been carrying water for conservative causes. They've not been defending conservative causes. They have already ruled against Trump several times. So, yeah, I agree with Gretchen. I think they probably will get a conviction if the motion to dismiss is not accepted. I don't see why it would be accepted. Apparently, the judge who is presiding over this thing has relatives working for the Democratic Party. Alvin Bragg is, of course, a Democrat and has family members apparently working for the Democrats. He campaigned, as the attorney Kim was saying, on on the Get Trump thing. This is not the sign of a healthy country, nor the ways in which a justice system should be used. For instance, I said a moment ago, I'm traveling now in South America. This is my 9th trip to Latin America in 5 years. It's a very interesting region for a political science major. But one of the sad features of this part of the world is political prosecutions. Every politician who loses an election finds himself or herself charged with a crime. And now you've got in Brazil, they've got this socialist lunatic, Lula, who has already been imprisoned for corruption, who's now back, and he apparently is going to torture Bolsonaro, who's a great conservative and a friend of Trump. They have called Bolsonaro back to Brazil to face charges potentially of having accepted jewelry from the Saudis. I mean, this is how silly and petty it gets. And I thought this week, this is where we're headed also, if something doesn't change.
Mhm.
Let
Can
me,
you- yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
if I may chime in, regarding the indictments, I think it is important for us to really know what went on before this indictment and what is the state of this indictment, if I may. As you know, that this Alvin Bragg is the newly elected DA, and before there were several DAs before that, and who decided not to press charge on the same facts as what the Alvin Bragg is looking at right now to charge. And the whole thing is such it smacks of a political move, because there were a lot of these pressures on all sides, pushing him to go ahead and just indict and all that. There were you saw the how the jurors were, I'm sorry, the grand jury members who were supposed to take a leave until late April or something, and then all of a sudden, the very next day of that, the indictment came down. So there's a very haphazard, and this is not the kind of haphazard move that befits America, especially when you have this kind of indictment on a very, very slim charge against former president in the middle of election, in which he's a candidate for the major party in the election. And this is a move politically, the tainted move that should not have happened. You talk about the crossing of Rubicon. Unfortunately, this is one of those events that can create a lot of the negative impact on the future of American politics, and how the major party can use its position as a party in power to suppress oppression. And we are looking at, this is an extension. I have to say that what Alvin Bragg did is unfortunately a tip of iceberg. It is something that has been causing a lot of what's been ailing America since long before Donald Trump came before seen as a presidential candidate in 2016. But this is, as I said, this is a very much different, very negatively driven, totalitarian driven, unfortunately, what I call Obama elderized Department of Justice. The 34 counts that it is that the felon, supposedly felony charge, it all connects to the so-called the business record of the payment they made by Donald Trump to Michael Cohen, his attorney, and this in relation to the $130,000 hush money, so-called hush money, but it is one of those things that it is a settlement that takes all the time in a court of law in resolving the civil cases between parties, and it is and whatever the so-called business record, falsifying business record, that entails, it is misdemeanor, and the statute of limitation has run long time ago. So this guy has nothing there. So what he did was he put it what you call the federal election law, because he didn't reveal this payment, and then he said that it was the attorney the legal fee, and that is the supposedly violation of the election law, because it is supposed to be helping the election campaign, and it is a flimsiest allegation that that could have been exercised by anyone in his office, and it is a full of ambiguity, and so I think that this will likely be dismissed even before it goes to the jurors. When you talk about the influencing election, what if you pay off your taxes and all that before you run for office, or there's some debts? Are you supposed to disclose all that? And is it part of election disclosure? I don't think so. It is one of those things that Mr. Bragg has gone too far to establish very bad precedent over the election law, and it's going to impact how the even president behaves in the Oval Office, and it's going to negatively impact how he respond to the legitimate threat to the America's national security, when this kind of gimmicks are always lurking behind his decision making. And very bad precedent.
Attorney Kim, do you believe that this Judge Merchan, I think is his name, do you believe that he is fair enough? Do you trust in his character enough to grant a motion to dismiss?
I have to say I'm not quite familiar with him, not yet. I haven't studied well enough to answer that question. I'm sorry.
So thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think that there are a lot of Obama appointees who are very much driven by the ideology rather than the real law, and who's willing to shade and reflect their political views instead of the legal views. And it's unfortunate we have to contend with that kind of extra legal the elements in the court of law.
So much for hope and change.
Thank you so much. All the answers commented to her, her talk about, about natural. We committed to another next, interview, join together. Okay. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.